Okay, so we're going to talk about sales tax, which I think most of you guys know about sales tax already. Don't really need to define it, right? And then we have tip and commission. Okay? So these three are things that we add on to our total. Okay? Sales tax, tip, and commission. So sales tax, right? Here's a good example here. So let's say we buy something that's $140, and then the tax is 5.75%. I think in Clovis it's like 8%, 8.2. Fresno is a little bit less if you're shopping for Christmas, just so you know. Yep. So $140 and then 5.75% tax. And to find the tax, it's a really simple math. Just if you want to know, like, how much money do you need for tax, you know? You would take that percentage and turn it into a decimal, so 2 places to the left on the decimal point, right? And then multiply that times the dollar amount. So that would give you $8.05. Okay? So really simple calculation, right? Just move the decimal 2 places to the left, 0.0575 times 140 is $8.05. So if the question says find the tax, that's what you would do. You would just multiply that. Question?
Where did you get the 140?
I'm just making an example. So like just say something's $140. Oh. Yeah. Okay. And if you want to find the total, you could add those together, right? But there's a shortcut to find the total. So like if you just do it that way, you could add them up. And that would give you the total, right? But there is a shorter way to do this. Does anybody know the shortcut? Probably you wouldn't need to do this normally, right? You guys just go and buy your candy at the store and pay your little bit of tax, don't you? By the way, they do charge you tax on candy. They shouldn't, but they do. So the shorter way, instead of doing this like multiplying and then adding thing, you could get the total right away by just putting a 1 in front of the decimal. So if a problem just asks you for the total, you know, you don't need to find the tax separately. If you just put a 1.0, whatever your tax rate is, it will give it to you automatically in your calculator. So I have a story with this, but I'll let you guys finish writing.
Story time.
Yep. So I know that on your quiz next week, you have a quiz next week, it says list the tax. So, and then there's another part that says find the total. So if you're just finding the tax, you're obviously going to have to do just the first way to find the tax. But if you're finding the total, then use the 1.0 whatever. So I learned about this when I was 16 because my first job I worked at Little Caesars Pizza. You guys know Little Caesars, right? They're still around. So I worked at Little Caesars, and this was back in the day when they didn't have like fancy computers or anything, right? Like when I was 16, we didn't have email or cell phones or World Wide Web. Okay? Oh my God. So this is like, yeah, I know, and it's not that long ago, right? But that's how the world was. And so we had like kind of old registers, cash registers. But if someone called in and they wanted to order a pizza and you wanted to give them the total right away, you would have like a little, it would be a calculator, you know, like what you guys are using. And so I learned really quick, you know, because there's tax on pizza, to just type in the 1 point whatever so I could give them the total. But other people in the store didn't know that, so they were like writing down the number and then they were finding it and then they were adding it. So I was like, why don't you just put a 1 and then, you know, people aren't on hold so long. Yeah?
Why do you put a 1?
So the 1 is like basically you're multiplying the 140 times 1, right? And then the 0.0575 is the tax, so it automatically adds it together. Yeah. So that's how I learned how to do that. I know, right? 16, that was, what year was that? 1994? Pre-World Wide Web? No smart anything, just smart people? Okay, So we understand tax, right? We got that? Tax is okay? All right, tip. Do you guys know what tip is?
Yeah, you give tips.
I hope so.
Yeah, you give your waiter a tip.
So if you go out to eat and you have a waiter or waitress or something, they're called servers now. You should leave a tip, or like say
They did very
you
well.
go in a taxi, you might give a tip, or at a hotel like a Bellman or something. So there's a lot of reasons you would leave a tip, and the tip is based on, you know, service. But this is just an example. Let's say you have $35 on your check, your bill, and you want to leave 15% tip. Yeah?
Isn't it like if you give a penny to like a waiter for a tip?
That would be really rude. Yeah. So basically, I always leave a really big tip because I waited tables for years and years when I was in college. So whenever I go out to eat, I leave way more than that because it's a lot of work. And the waiters get minimum wage, and then they kind of live off of their tips. So that's what I do. But so most people leave about 15%, 15 to 20%.
I leave 100%.
So if you want to figure out the tip, it's just like the tax. So just to find the tip, and by the way, a lot of times it's called gratuity. Okay, gratuity is a big word for tip. Gratuity, like grateful, you know that word grateful? Gratuity, gratitude. So to find the tip, you just multiply 0.15, because that's 15% is a decimal, times the 35, and then you would see, okay, you need to leave $5.25 if you want to leave 15%. Okay? So just to find the tip, you would just multiply by the decimal again. And if you want to find the total, just like before, you would just add those two together, right? So like you and your friends go out, you want to know how much you need to split it by, you just add it together and split it. Or you can do the shortcut way. Same thing as I showed you with the tax. You can just put a 1 in front of the decimal. Any questions on tip? It's the same exact setup as tax, right? Does everybody see that? It's no different. Okay. We're still adding it. Okay. So the kind of problems that you guys are probably going to see are like this. So you'll have something like where you have the bill, and then the tax, and then the tip, and they want you to find the total. Okay? So they'll combine 3 things there. So you have $40, and then you have the tax, and you have the tip. Yeah, so you could do this. You could just say, okay, well, if I would just want to find the 40 plus the tax, I could multiply that by the 1.0675. Okay, and then I could multiply that by the tip, which would be 1.15. Could you do it all together? Like instead of steps?
Yes.
Yeah, because you're multiplying. Okay? So you should get, when you punch all that in, you should get $49.11. And then it's really good idea to go back and check. Does that make sense? Well, it started at 40. You're going to add a little bit of tax and a little bit of tip. So yeah, that makes sense. We shouldn't get something like $500, right? That'd be ridiculous. So always go back and check to make sure that the number that you got actually makes sense in the real world. So, questions on that, or is it pretty easy? Pretty easy? Yeah? You don't have to put the 1 out front, but if you don't put the 1 out front, then you have to go back and add them all back up together again. So you might as well put the 1. Yeah.
Isn't she $49.11?
Yeah, it's up there. You got it? Okay. So that's basic stuff, right? So I want you guys to try one. Just the total. It's $295. Okay, and then there's 5% tax. So just give me the total. And then make sure it makes sense after you get your answer. Okay, raise your hand if you think you have it. Anyone think they know? Some people think they know. Okay, Jarek, what'd you say?
Around $3.
Around $3? Did you get anything a little more precise?
Well, I got 3.0975.
Okay, so if you got I'm gonna write that down. You got 3.0975.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we want to change that to dollars and cents, would you say it's $3.09, or would you guys say it's closer to $3.10? So let's go ahead and put $3.10. Raise your hand if you got that. Raise your hand if you got something else and you're not sure. Yeah? What'd you get?
I did. Oh, I got $4.42.
So did you do 2.95 times 1.05?
No.
Don't forget the zero. The zero is important. Because 5%, two places to the left would be 0.5. Okay? So be careful on those. Alright, try this one. Just try one more. See if we can get these. This one is 15% tip and it's $28 for lunch. So give me the total there. Just raise your hand when you think you have it. A couple people got it. Anthony, what'd you get?
I think it's $4.20.
Okay, so what's the total then? Blake?
I got $32.20.
Good. So the tip was $4.20, right? So if you did the total, so you would do 28 times 1.15, right? To get the total. You would get 32.2, so that's $32.20. Who got that right? Good. Okay. The last thing, and we're not going to really have too much homework on this, but you do need to know about it. It's called commission. Yeah?
Well, if would you just not add the 1?
Yeah, you would remove the 1. So commission, do you guys know what that is? Have you heard about that? So like say you sell real estate or something. A lot of sales jobs have this, like car salesman, retail. They pay you a portion, like a percentage on what you sell. Okay? So like, say you're selling a car for 10 grand and they might give you like 2% commission. Okay? So, you know, something like that. So you get like a little bonus check based on your sales. That's what commission is. Okay? So if you ever go to a place where you feel like the salesperson is like really, really interested in you and they're helping you a lot, they're not just being nice. They're trying to make money, right? They get a commission off of how much they sell. Okay? Also, when I was in college, I worked at an apartment complex. I worked in like the office. And every time we rented an apartment, we got a commission. It was like, it wasn't a percentage, but it was like $100 or something. It was pretty good. So that's another form of commission. It's not always a percentage. Yeah?
What college did you go to?
I went to Fresno State. Yeah.
Don't they do that at like stores like Macy's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Ulta maybe does that, or
Sephora maybe.
Sephora does that, Macy's. You know when you go into Macy's and they like try to spray you with perfume and all that? Yeah. They're getting a commission.
One time the lady sprayed
Yeah.
me in the eye.
So, or they ask you, like, who helped you today? You know they're getting commission. All right, so that's commission. So here's an example. Let's say you're a realtor and you sell a house for $300,000. And on that $300,000, whoever is like you're selling the house for, they're going to give you 10% of that as a commission fee. Okay, so that's like for you doing the work, you get paid part of that house sale. Yeah.
So wait, when I do commission, do I go to 10 or?
It's the same exact thing, right? So it's the same as like tax and tip. So you would do that if you want just the commission. Most people know 10%, but just for an example, multiply by 0.1 and you would get 30,000. So if you're a realtor and you actually got that 10%, that's a high number. You would get $30,000 as your income, right? Okay? I think most real estate commission is like 2.5% though. So that's how you would do that, okay? So if you wanted the total, you wouldn't do that for commission. Like, you don't want that because you're taking some of that money out of the house. So that means like whoever sold the house gets $270,000 and the realtor gets $30,000, right? They split the cost there. So that's just like a short note on commission. I do want you guys to practice a few more in your book. So it's only 5 problems. So go to page 155 and we're going to just look at 1 through 5. See if we can get these. Make sure we've mastered this. I think we have. We'll find out. Okay, it's this page. It has this like really fantastic recliner. See that? Doesn't that look great? 155.